Sup, YouTubes? Hey man, it's been a bit. Trying to keep these Super 73s rolling. They're doing awesome. These are like the original Super 73s. And what we're trying to do is go from this to this. But the reason for that is, you'll see, I'll link the video below that we did where we added the new battery to this. And I linked that on Amazon. But now it's been, a few years. I don't know, maybe 3 years? I can't remember. But they're starting to lose range. And rather than just saying, okay, let's put in another battery every single time, I figured, how can we get this thing so we have like ultimate range? So what we're going to do is, like I just showed you in this picture, we're going to put a battery right on the front. What can we do here? Right on the front of this thing, up and down that. So you guys will see how I'm going to do that. I bought a bunch of stuff for it. Matter of fact, let me just kind of show you some of the things that I bought. First off, I bought this 20 amp hour 36 volt battery, external on online, and you guys can do the same. I'll link all of this below too. So bought that, and that is going to go, just so you know, it's gonna connect to that water bottle holder right there is what it's gonna look like, and you'll see. But that, we're gonna hook these in what we call parallel, right? So we're not gonna go in series, because I just wanna leave the speed controller and leave these things legal at 20 miles per hour. So, I'm just gonna put this in parallel with the existing battery that's in here. So the idea is that the speed controller will draw from both of those. The downfall to that is you're now going to have to charge two different batteries. No big deal, but it'll draw from both of them. You can see in that other video how I connected all the other one. And I'm not gonna show you again how to take this all apart, but I will show you what I do once I get in there and how I'm gonna kind of use some different things. So here's what I've got. I bought these really cool solderless connectors, which I'll show you exactly what we're gonna use. I'm using the 12 gauge versions of those too. So I'll put a link to that. So here we go. I'm gonna put everything on here. We got that. What else do we got? I bought this Y connector, and let me tell you what I did. I just used XT60 connectors. Can you see that? I don't know, it might be hard to see. Let me see if I can get it front. These are XT60s because they're really inexpensive. They work really, really good. They're 12 gauge, and the battery itself came with a 12 gauge. You'll see on the harness, which I'll show you here in a second, that it came with an XT60. Matter of fact, let's do this. See, here we go. This is the connector. Let's see if I can get that thing. Does it? All right, there it is. And that's got the XT60 on it too. So you'll see how I put that on here in a second. Then I bought, obviously you gotta have a lot of zip ties. Totally cool. I actually did buy some wire, but I didn't need it, and I'll show you why. So a bunch of zip ties, right? And then all these little connectors. I'll link this one as well, because now I can change out the speed control and the other battery to XT60. Really easy. These were super cheap too, but you'll see how I connect it all together. And I did buy some heat shrink tube. And I don't even know that I need that, because you could just use electrical tape, but where I like it, you'll see how I use it as well. But that's gonna be your shopping list. I'll put all that down below. One more thing, that battery also came with an XT60 connector as well. So it had the male and the female, but I'll show you how we pop that into this thing right here too. But anyways, that's the whole part list right there that you can see below. The idea behind all this is so that I'm gonna get like, not double the range, but yeah, I got a 20, what do we call it? 20 amp hour battery. And then I'm also gonna have what was underneath it, which I think we had like a 13 amp hour battery. So those together, I'm more than doubling, probably almost tripling my range out of the same exact thing by hooking them in parallel. Okay, first things first, it came with a cool little battery and then a couple mounting screws. We're literally just gonna mount this thing on here. So what we'll do is, it's gotta be upside down, or else you're gonna have to run a ton of wires. And it works good, it locks fine. You may want to reinforce this. I guess we can see how long this thing holds on really, really well. But look how easy this is. It's just going to go on here, and you're going to use these mounting screws just like that. And then your wire will be right up here at the top, and then we'll plug it in. But I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. So take these two screws that you have in here, right? And then I'm going to mount them to the water bottle mount right there. We're going to take this, and where are my screws? They're right here. Just gonna mount it right here on the cage. On where the cage mount, I guess I should say. There you go, it's all clicked in now. Now it's not perfect in there, but they're nice and tight. And let's now take off the seat. Okay, like I said, I'm not gonna show you how we busted into this and got out all these little screws because I'm gonna show you in the other video. I'll link that below too. But look, it's just, you take these, you take out 2 screws here, take out the 2 screws on the front, and then I think there's 6 or 7 screws. You flip that thing upside down, and then you can get into the whole thing. Now, before you can remove the seat, as you saw in the other video, you may wanna go watch that whole thing. You have to disconnect this one, and you have to disconnect this one down here at the back. Then you should be able to pull the seat right off. I just lift this part off, boom, just like that. Okay, and there, now we have what we're gonna start working on. So, first things first, we just have to disconnect the battery. Like I said, this was the previous battery we did from the other video, so we'll disconnect that. And then we're gonna make this all working with the Y connector. I'll show you what we're gonna do first. Then I'm gonna cut each individual wire, and I'll probably go back behind where I did this before because we're gonna have plenty of wire. So I'm gonna cut those right now. Let's see. And also, here's the tip. Do not ever cut them together, all right? Like if you cut this black and this red together, right here, like across, this is what's gonna happen to your dikes. You're gonna put a hole in it because this thing's a lot, I don't even know if you can see that, it's crazy. Yeah, it totally like ate the blade. So don't do that, and it made a huge spark. So don't do that, I did that previously. So watch, we just cut one at a time. Pretty simple. And then don't let them touch. I mean, if you can avoid it. It's hard to do with one hand, obviously. But we got those 2 now. And then I'm also gonna cut back here because we're not going to be reusing that Anderson connector. See, there you go, somehow still. What the heck? I don't know why that wasn't connected to battery. Must have had some juice still in the thing. All right, let's cut the second one. Still had some juice in it or something. I don't get that. All right, now I'm gonna cut this. We'll get to stripping wires here in a second. Okay, I popped that little piece out right there, and then I'm going to cut this piece right there just with the dikes. Cut it off. Don't cut the wire though. And that is what it'll look like right there. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to connect this through here, which means I'm gonna grab this other piece right here, and I'm gonna connect it here and run it through, but I'm gonna put some heat shrink on so it looks a little bit better. You'll see. All right, I got my little piece of heat shrink tube, and I'm just gonna slide it on down. Okay, I got my little heat shrink tube right there. All I'm gonna do is just heat it up with this torch. Now don't get it too close or you're gonna burn it off, but I just get it. So it just shrinks up. You can see it right there. Do the back. Nice and tight. It's just gonna look better when everything's together. So now, what I'm gonna do is, look, you got male and female. It's kind of hot still. I'm gonna connect it here to the battery. Eventually, I'm not gonna do it right now because then that would make this live. So I'm going to just kind of mock this up right now. I'm gonna put this back on, and then I'll show you how I come through this hole again. This thing sometimes just coming on and off, you have to wiggle it a little bit. So now watch. This thing, I'll show you. Filming's the hardest part of this entire process. Trust me, this is really not very hard. All right, oh, that's gonna come through this hole right here, and then we'll be able to connect it here, which we'll zip tie later. But now we're gonna get the Y connectors and connect all of this together. We're gonna splice wires, use the solderless connections, and then plug it all in with the XT60s. You just gotta make sure that you're using male to female on each one so it works out proper. Okay, now that I've got all 3 of these set up, then I'm simply just gonna plug this in. Check it out. All right, looks a little something like that, just to kind of give you an illustration. Now I'm going to tuck in some of these wires, put some zip ties maybe on this on the front and the back just to kind of make it cleaner. I'll show you what that looks like when I'm done. And then I will put the seat all back together. But first we should test it. So I'm going to plug everything back in to test it. I'll plug this guy back in, and then I'll plug that one in the back in, and we'll give it a go. Okay, everything's plugged back in, turn the battery on, connected it all, connected this up here, lift it up. We're rolling. Some of you may wonder why I didn't just like connect this all the way in here. Every winter, what I do is I take these batteries, like the whole seat off, and then I take it inside so it's not like just in the garage dying, and I'll just disconnect this one. But I wanted to be able to disconnect this so I can take the whole seat off. That makes sense? So then I don't have to undo all those screws. I just undo this and then I can take it off. So here's all we're gonna do. You can go watch that other video how I reversed and put everything back together and then zip tied up the other side. But then, you know, we just plug in these different spots and zip tie up the other sides. Zip tie everything, kind of the frame in these little spots, and just make it look good. But I'll show you the finished product. Got one more thing. I put zip ties. I'm going to put zip ties here on this side and on this side, and then I can hit that with a little bit of like black silicone to make it so it is waterproof. But that way I'll kind of seal up this side now. And you can tuck back in this other cable right up to about that area. So then you have plenty of slack, just like I had before, so you can turn the wheels. A quick note for charging is when we did this battery, if you check the other video, we connected this so it would still charge through this hole. But understand, this is all just the power source. This is not the charging source. So there's 2 points that you can charge. To charge this battery, you would still have to charge through this port. And then to charge the new battery, you would have to charge with the charge port. If we can find it, below right down there. One other cool thing is, look, I have these little lights that I used, and I'll put the link to these too. I use these, and now you could connect a USB if you wanted, and go all the way down to the frame and plug it into the USB, which is right here on the side of the battery, and now you have a hardwired in light. That'd be pretty cool too. All right, zip tied there, plugged everything in. A little zip tie there with everything, and a zip tie there, plus plugged in the front.